Miranda Hobbs' sexual awakening during the latest episode of And Just Like That, when shared a steamy moment with bisexual Che Diaz has been lauded by fans. After watching episode 3, entitled When in Rome, Sex and the City, fans have praised the storyline as they declared online they are happy she is finally coming out and admitted the scene made them feel tearful. The moment was set up after Miranda hinted at a staleness in her relationship with husband Steve earlier in the episode, when she told Charlotte in Starbucks that they haven't had sex for years and considered whether they were just roommates. Later that day, following an evening at the taping for Che Diaz's Netflix stand-up special, she stayed out with them. Che, after the show once recently widowed Carrie and Charlotte headed home. While the scene was no doubt a nod to Miranda's heavily hinted alcoholism, she was also seen having an intense exchange with Che once inside the club. The two characters are stood by the bar when Che asks Miranda if she minds if they shotgun her, which involves smoking a joint and blowing into someone else's mouth. The result of it is a highly charged moment between the two characters, which was noted by viewers who said it was Miranda's gay awakening. Although Miranda is in a heterosexual marriage with Steve in the series, they rejoiced that Miranda was finally able to live as her authentic self. One person wrote, "We always knew Miranda was gay. I'm happy she finally coming out." Another said, "After screaming 'You're gay' at Miranda for years, I cried when she finally got her gay awakening." A third person shared several images of Miranda from the series so far and wrote, "Miranda's gay awakening era so true." A different person wrote, "Miranda and Che," series of eye emojis, hinting at a potential romantic relationship between the two characters. One person posted a picture of Melissa McCarthy doing a heart symbol and wrote, "Me watching Miranda come into her late-in-life queerness." Another joked, "My mentioned how Carrie went home to her apartment and I was like? Anything post Miranda's gay awakening did not register with me." One said, "Miranda Hobbs' gay awakening, here for it!" In agreement. Another wrote, "Miranda is going through a whole awakening." Another referenced Cynthia Nixon's, who identifies as queer, political bid, and said, Miranda having her gay awakening in the Sex and the City reboot." Cynthia Nixon said, "If I can't have the governor's office, I will have the writer's room." A different person said, "Love this awakening she's having." One person did remember that she was married however, and said, "I'm here for Miranda's sexual awakening, but whatever happens I just hope Steve will be okay, whatever this turns out to be." Another delighted fan said, "The queer dynamic between Che and Miranda though. So relatable and such a pleasure to watch, especially knowing that the actors are bisexual. And Just Like That is definitely doing it for me." Predicting future episodes, one said, "I'm guessing Miranda is gonna come out as either lesbian or bisexual or cheat on Steve with Chia or both." One viewer accused Sex and the City of trying too hard to be relatable to a younger audience and said, "Miranda's going to have her sexual awakening now. I mean, is it just me or are they going kinda hard attempting to be woke?" There was one viewer who criticized the storyline after Satk previously addressed Miranda's sexuality in the first series of the cult hit. During S1 episode 3, Miranda is set up with a woman by her boss who presumes she is a lesbian at a company baseball game. Miranda tries to kiss her in an elevator and insists she isn't gay, after the moment did nothing for her sexually. The viewer wrote, "Miranda is not a lesbian. We already tried this on Season 1, Episode 3, Married Bay of Pigs." Cynthia, 55, recently spoke about how part of the reason she decided to return to the show was to go back and undo the things that we really got wrong. She told Elle magazine, "We had gay characters in SATC, but a lot of the LGBT stuff in it was purely for comedic effect, and now rings harsh on the ear, I have to say. I was nervous about the whole thing," she said. "I was very reluctant at first. I said I probably wasn't going to sign back on because I felt like there would have to be a sea change to happen to make this show, the show we would want it to be in 2021 and beyond." She added, "As wonderful as SATC is, to do that show right now would be incredibly tone-deaf. So I was really worried that the transformation wouldn't be big enough, and my fears are very allayed." Elsewhere, Che actor Sara Ramirez told Entertainment Weekly that the moment was supposed to feel charged between them. After being told the moment was charged, they said, "That's great feedback. Yeah, I think we were going for something intimate and charged, and it sounds like we accomplished that goal." They also discussed what the future held for Che and Miranda, and said, "What I can say is that they are two very powerful, very confident people who are both unafraid to speak their authentic truths. And when you get two energies like that in the room, you can expect a really interesting dynamic to appear, and you can expect some serious electricity." The eagerly anticipated reboot And Just Like That returned to screens on Thursday, with fans seeing the aftermath of Mr. Big's, Chris Noth, shocked death in the opening episodes. It follows widow Carrie as she struggles to cope after Big's heart attack, while she's also forced to confront one of his exes in a bid to find out more about her late husband's dealings. The show begins with grieving Carrie back at work recording her woke sex podcast with Che Diaz, Sara Ramirez, as she admits it's been a rough few weeks but comforted by knowing she was never happier than in her final weeks with Big. With no time to sit and wallow, the columnist is next seen meeting up with Miranda as she heads to Big's will reading alongside his longtime assistant Gloria, Brenda Vaccaro. The emotional situation soon turns tense, however, as it transpires that Big has left his ex-wife Natasha Naginski £1 million in his will. Big famously shocked SATC fans in Season 2 when it was revealed he was engaged to 26-year-old Natasha, Bridget Moynihan, having known her for just 5 months. Carrie and Big then embarked on a brief affair during his marriage, resulting in a tense showdown between the love rivals when she learnt of the infidelity. With a shocked Carrie struggling to process the news, the executor of the estate muses that in his experience money is usually used to put an end to any unfinished business, leaving the ladies reeling. Talk of the scandal continues as Carrie and Miranda meet Charlotte York, Kristen Davis, and Stanford Blatch, played by the late Willie Garson, for lunch. Still reeling from the news, Carrie exclaims, "I'm just one of the wives Big was taking care of. Why is she in there at all?" While Miranda muses, "He did destroy her life." As Carrie continues to question why Big kept the plan a secret, Miranda is seen desperately searching for the wine she's ordered, adding yet more fuel to the claims she has an alcohol problem in the reboot. A disparaged Carrie then reasons, "I can't believe it. Big is gone, and Natasha is back." Back in her New York apartment, Carrie desperately tries to get into Big's laptop while searching for clues to why he made the decision, while across town Charlotte is reading stories to Rose, Alexa Swinton, who admits she's uncomfortable being called a girl. Rose, who is 12 in the reboot, admits, "I don't feel like a girl, with a baffled Charlotte trying to defuse the situation by announcing, "I sometimes don't feel like a girl too." The following morning, Charlotte meets with old friend and Stanford's husband, Anthony Mario Cantoni, to discuss Rose's confession, with Anthony noting he should just ignore it and move on, dismissing the notion as childlike fantasy. Amid the drama over Rose's gender identity, Carrie is still attempting to piece together why Big left money to Natasha, and after a fruitless rummage through his belongings, takes it upon herself to email Natasha directly. Explaining her decision to Miranda, Carrie reveals, "It wasn't easy. The sixth stage of grief is stalking." Expressing her anger that she is yet to respond, she adds, "I can't sleep in this apartment anymore. It's haunted." Her, before tracking Natasha down on Instagram to DM her, only to be immediately blocked in response. With no other way of contacting Natasha, Carrie enlists Miranda and Charlotte to hide out and stalk Natasha outside her office in order to confront her and find out if she was still in touch, or worse, having an affair with Big. As Charlotte and Miranda wait across the street for Carrie, it transpires that Miranda is hoarding many bottles of alcohol in her purse, and also that she's been having marriage troubles with Steve, David Eigenberg, admitting they haven't slept together in years. There's no time to talk further on her issues, however, as Carrie comes storming in, having been blown off yet again by Natasha at her office before accidentally locking eyes with Natasha through her office window and being forced to run away. The following morning, Carrie is no closer to calming down and admits to Miranda, "I'm really mad at Big. After all these years, this what I'm left with. He ruined our happy sad ending." Heading on a walk to clear her head, Carrie then stops in at a coffee shop to use the restroom, only to accidentally barge in on Natasha using the toilet. The showdown then ensues with a scathing Natasha saying, "At a coffee shop? At my job? Where are you going to hunt me down next, Carrie? What the FK do you want from me?" As Carrie pleads with Natasha to sit down and talk, a formerly furious Natasha reluctantly takes a seat and reveals she now has 2 children and also doesn't want the money from Big's will, revealing she hasn't spoken to her ex-husband since the divorce. Natasha admits she will never understand why Big married her when he was still in love with Carrie, with Carrie speculating that it may have been his way of apologizing for the affair. With Carrie finally having had the closure she needed, she takes the girls out to watch Boss Chess' stand-up routine, in which the comedian discusses her struggle with her gender identity as well as her sexuality, which seems to strike a chord with Miranda. In their taxi home, Charlotte admits to Carrie that she's concerned about Miranda's drinking and believes she has a problem, but Carrie is quick to dismiss her. The episode ends with Carrie deciding to return to her old rent-controlled brownstone apartment instead of the suite she shared with Big, with the closing lines, "And just like that, I walked myself home."